Okay, good evening everyone. Hopefully you can all see me. I'm hoping this week that my live stream doesn't get cut short. We'll see what happens. So yeah, at the moment I've got excellent collection. Excellent connection. It's been a long day. So I've got my parents down this weekend, so we've been busy today. Pings on my watch to say that I'm now live, so that's always useful. Yeah, so basically in the sort of midst of, well, entertaining parents for the weekend and stuff, it's like, what do I really do with myself? So I have actually been out here in the layout room working on the layouts. So the points that we can currently see in the picture just at the front there, just after the white tape. The white tape is there for a reason. But yeah, they are now operating. So basically that means that I can run locomotives round the station bit now. The station bit has also changed a fair amount. Had a bit of work done to it as well. Annoyingly, I've managed to break my Dapple water tower, but I know a simple little fix for it. So yeah, I'm going to do it. Bit of a silly design in my opinion. So there's a tiny micro servo that's in there that's operated by a little control board. But you have a spindle that comes down off the servo. So the servo's above, and then you've got a spindle, and basically that spindle rotates on the actual teeth of the servo. And rather annoyingly, they then put a square fitting at the base of that spindle, which then operates the water column arm and swings it out 90 degrees and comes back 90 degrees. Now, when I was setting this up, I had it sat on the table in front of me, and of course it was one of those sort of situations where I sort of looked at it and went, well, which way does it go? Is it going to swing out to the left or is it going to swing out to the right? Because obviously if I set it up on the layout and lo and behold it swings the wrong way, that'll be a bit silly. So I basically put it on a 9-volt battery on the table in front of me, and I triggered it, and yeah, the arm started to swing out the opposite way. So it started to swing down as opposed to swinging up at me, and of course that pushed on the desk, and then the next thing you know, it just went limp and flopping about. So yeah, after a little bit of investigation, I found that there is a little tiny spindle, and yeah, so what I've had to do, you won't be able to see it. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll put it on the me cam. I've had to basically glue this little tiny square lug just on the top back on, in the hope that that will work. If it doesn't, then I've got an idea to sleeve it, and make it so it's like a sort of friction sort of fit, so it'll slowly rotate it round that way. Don't know why they haven't done that personally, because I can see a lot of people knocking these, so when they're swung out over the track you can accidentally drive your loco into it, and then at that point all you're going to do is snap this little spindle here. So yeah, not a clever design. I've got two of these. So yeah, the second one, which will be placed over in the shed behind us here, I will obviously try and do some sort of modification there. Been out in the sun today, so yeah, I'm a bit red. Yeah, overall, just really getting on. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll take you on a little bit of a tour around the layout and show you what hasn't happened and what has happened, etc. So I'll start by going onto the actual, I'll go onto it's my desk cam, but I can rotate it round and put it up in a view there. So as I said, the points that are here and the one just behind the actual camera there, they're now working. So I managed to finish up the wiring for those. Been on a bit of a wiring frenzy for the last few days. There is a signal just there, which you can just about see now. So yeah, that is just a dummy signal basically. Some of them work, some of them don't. Don't really see the need of making them all work, but yeah. The other thing I've also done is, if you'll excuse me stepping out of the way for a minute, this section of track now has ABC on it. So the idea is the loco will come along this section of track here, and it will come to a stop just by the signal. The idea of that being that if I've got the point that's just past the camera shot here, just over here, if that is set against it, then the loco will come to a stop and wait for me to change the point for then, so it can run, so it can then run into the station. So that's obviously a little bit of wiring that's happened there. I'll skip back to the Shedcam at the moment. Now we've got the Western currently sitting on the turntable at the moment. We can give that a little spin just there. Still doing testing, still doing development with that. So we're using it's not called an Arduino, but it's like an Arduino. The idea is it's Wi-Fi. So what I now have is a web screen that I can go to, and that will allow me to configure, set up, change it, pretty much do what I need to do with the actual unit. There's still a little bit of a gremlin there, as you can see. It's quite fast in one direction, so I need to have a chat with DCC interface. As I say, this is a development kit, so it's coming, but obviously we've got to work out the bugs. So at the moment it's a case of I'm sitting there going through all the little bugs and all that sort of stuff. What I will actually do is I will load up on my screen. I will load up the web interface so you can see it. So 192. That's of course assuming it hasn't changed the IP address again, because it's good at doing that. Right, bear with me. So 34 now. Right, so we're on to 34 now. So what I'll do is I'll pop it onto my screen, which is that one there, and it was 32 yesterday, so now it's changed to 34, so this is another little bug that we need to sort out. But this is then basically showing you the setup for the turntable. So for instance, this is currently comes default with 10 indexes, and you can set head or tail to each one of those indexes. It's basically the equivalent of saying that index 1, as an example, that is a turnout address 200. So 200 closed is head, 200 thrown is tail. So it gives you the option of showing that way. But you can go into the configuration settings here, and then what we can do is we can basically change the amount of indexes. Now I'm only ever going to need 3, just for the size of the layout, etc. I can reduce the speed from here as well, so we can take that right down to about 40. We'll try about 40 to start with, and then we can go from there basically. You can come down here, and as I say, you can set the indexes there. So this is the DCC address, so index 1, like I said, was 200. 2 will be 201, excuse me, 202 for index number 3, and then you've got the positions as well that you can set: head position, tail position, and so on. So what I'll do is I'll just save the config quickly, and then go home, and then it's now given me back my 3 indexes now. So all being well, if I flick back to the Shedcam now, we should be able to watch the turntable, hopefully going a wee bit slower. Doesn't look very slow to me. So yeah, there's still a lot of gremlins that need working out with it as well. Some of you may have seen in the actual camera. I'll just quickly show it again. that if I remove the signal box, there's a little tiny screen here. That little tiny screen is basically displaying the IP address of the controller for the turntable. The idea of that being that you know, I can get on with that. Good evening, Timber Surf. Hope you're well. Actually, I've been playing with 3D products today. Actually, so yeah, quite interesting. Actually, I've been playing with the Westhill Wagonworks stuff that that I was sent. Or given, excuse me, by Chris at the Stuckford Barn exhibition that I was at with my Halland layout. Yeah, so I'll just grab a couple of bits. I've been playing with the ground signals. Yeah, I am impressed with 3D printing as a whole. You can't really see that actually, so if I put it on the cam there, and then I can zoom in, that is a little 3D printed ground signal from Westhill Wagonworks. Very nice. It's got no light on it. Very nice. You can just see this sort of code on it. Yep. And I've got the singles and the twins, or double head or single head, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've been spraying them and sticking little logos on the front, little stickers on the front that they supply. So very nice product indeed from Westhill Wagonworks. There's the little sheet with all the bits on. As you can see, I made a right old mess there. But yeah, you can cut them up and to suit everything this sort of way. Good evening, Steve. Hope you're well. Actually, I'll tell you what, Steve, you might be able to help me with this actually, because I'm not a signalling expert and I don't claim to be. But I've gone for a plain old, oh, let's just see if I can grab it again, hang on. I've gone for a plain old lower quadrant. Oh goodness sake, you can't see that really. You'll just be able to see that now, I think. Lower quadrant signal with green down, so when it's facing down it's going green. But what I'm confused by is I've gone and looked at this sheet here that they supply, and there's little white dots. Now obviously the orientation of the green is in different places and all that sort of stuff, but what I want to know is, what do the dots on the front of these discs actually indicate or denote, or whatever the word is? Hopefully one of you guys will know the answer to that and may be able to give me a slight clue, because if I'm honest, I have no idea. I did try Googling it earlier, and I really didn't get anywhere with it. I got a nice Hatton's video explaining about ground signals and stuff, but it didn't really tell me what the white markings on a ground signal disc did. So yeah, anyone knows, please leave it in the comments or leave it in the live chat for me to see. Yeah, dot could be hexagon. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it does look like a bit of a hexagon actually. Now that I sort of look at it, it's a bit of a stretched hexagon, admittedly. But what does the hexagon mean? Denotes track circuit. Ah, yes, that would make sense, because the signals, if you've got it on the post, the pole of the signal, that denotes track circuiting, does it? Yeah, okay, that makes total sense, Steve. Right, now you've said it, it makes total sense now, because it actually matches up with things like the hexagons you see on the signal posts and stuff. So yeah, thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate that. I hope you've had a flood of invites off the back of your recent model rail debut as well with your layout. I'm trying for the life to remember the name of it. Nottingborough. I hope I've said that right or got it right. But yeah, nice layout there. Go and check it out in Model Rail, guys. All being well, you should be able to see it. A few examples around, I hope so. The live chat seems to be struggling for me, which is a little bit annoying. Not yet. I hope, I've got to remember this, of course there's a delay, which I keep forgetting. Yeah, so right, we'll go back to the shed view quickly. So that's the latest sort of thing that's happened with the turntable in that corner anyway. As you can see, not a lot of work's been done in that corner. I'm still trying to finalise a track plan and see what I'm happy with. I'm trying to get the maximum play value out of it. So I want some head shunts, I want some sidings, all that sort of stuff. You can just see the legs of the crane, which is positioned too far back in my opinion. It needs to come much further forward. So yeah, that'll be interesting to do. The shed is roughly where I think it's going to be. Obviously before it gets installed properly, need to do all lighting and everything, because the idea of this as well is the lighting in the room that we're in will be able to be turned off, and all being well, we should get lots of layouts and lots of signal lighting around. So it needs a pit. Yes, it does need a pit. It needs 2 pits, if I'm honest, Steve. Again, until I finalise my track plan, I've not really gone anywhere with the pits. The pits themselves, I'm thinking, will be on the lead into and just slightly out of the shed, is my idea for those. Again, the coaling tower, I think will probably end up across the other side of the picture there, mainly because I've also got an idea. Ash pits, yeah, maintenance pits, yeah, they're all there. They're all going to be somewhere around there. Yeah, the ash pit, I need to try and think of a way of doing that properly. If you do water pipes, that'd be great. No, I'll just use some bits of wire, actually, for water pipes. Actually, I've cut a load off today, actually. There we go. Some nice black wire just there. That'll be good for water pipes. I've also got another one of the Dapol water columns to go in that corner as well. So it's going to be quite a cluttered corner, actually, which, as many of you may know, I'm not a fan of making things looking cluttered. This was the whole point of my track plan originally, because my track plan originally was massive track, just track everywhere. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It's the honest answer to that. So yeah, this is why I started again, and we've sort of got to this track plan that we're at the moment. Things still need to happen down the far end. The loop still needs finishing off. I'm going to add a second return loop in there as well, so there'll be a passing siding on that. Oh, you meant water columns? Yes, I will have water columns in there, Timber Surf. I will have one of the Dapol ones on the lead out or lead in to the MPD, and I've also got a couple of the ratio, excuse me, the little ratio kit ones that will sit there as well. I've also got this other idea that I'm thinking about doing a small section of 009 on the layout as well, mainly because I've got into 009 a little bit, and obviously if a 009 setup, if the 009 layout that we will eventually get around to building isn't set up, then I can't really have a play with it. Now, handily, we've just started a little 009 layout at work, which has been put in. We'll be putting one of our display cabinets as well. And the idea of that being is we'll have a couple of engines sort of running around that little display layout at work, which will be pretty cool. So we've got a couple of the prints. We've got one of the princesses, excuse me, that's all DCC sound fitted. Some of you might have seen that on the Fairly Good Idea layout with at the Stackpole Barn show. Asked to bring it back the following day on the Sunday as well, because it was reliable and good. And speak of the devil, there's Richard dropping in now. Good evening, mate. I hope you're well. You join me from my garage. I hope your garage is as lovely and warm and homely as mine is. I still need to probably come over and do lots of wiring for you as well at some point. Who called Richard? We never said his name 3 times. Yeah, see, would be quite a scary Beetlejuice actually, Timber Surf. Um, also, diagram should work as a shed in real life. Not entirely. Yours is full of cobwebs and wires. Well, we can't denote the cobwebs between the wires on your layouts anyway. So, no, I hope you're well, mate, and I hope you are getting some wiring done. I hope it's going well for you, and as I said, might invite me over for a play, because I've got lots of 00 stuff here that needs running. As you can see, my 68 has currently been delegated the shed road, which goes to nowhere. In actual fact, it's not even a shed road, it's a piece of track that doesn't even fit the whole engine on, actually. Although the Peckett seems to have a bigger piece of track on it, so maybe I should have swapped those two over. But of course, you always think of these things after you do your live stream. Yeah, so the only thing I will say at the moment, guys, is if you can do me a favour and like and share the stream. According to my watch counter, I've only got 4 people watching. I would like that to be slightly higher, if I'm honest. It again, probably should have done a bit more effort to sharing the stream or sharing the post around. But once again, I've kind of left things a little bit too late. Plus, I've been busy this weekend as well. So yeah, I'll come back to the junction. I'll come over to the junction now. Not really much has changed there. The junction is still pretty much the same. The signal box still needs finishing. The signal box roof is off at the moment because the interior still needs finishing. There is also a light strip, an LED light strip that's fitted inside there as well. The noise unit that's in there, so I can literally click this here and you get birds chirping and tweeting, and we'll get little bells dinging in the background like so. But yeah, the sounder is in there, just waiting for things to go. I found what I've had to do is I've had to remove some of the glazing from a couple of the windows around the back, mainly just to let the sound out a bit more, because there isn't actually, once the glazing and everything's in, there isn't actually anywhere for the sound to escape. Now, in some respects, that's good, because it's going to give me a deeper sound. But in other respects, it's actually not good because it muffles the sound very badly. So yeah, I've had to remove a couple of the windows there. What I might even do is I might get creative and see if I can remove a small section from the lower part of the signal box. That way I can do all my point rodding and everything like that through the front there, which I will do. The other thing I've also got to put on the layout at some point as well, which is the semaphore signal cables and posts. They were given to me by West Hill Wagon Works at the Stackpole Barn Show, so thank you very much to them for them. Look forward to the misery, the fun that I will have putting those in. I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine. I hope they will be anyway. The other fun one I've got to do at some point as well is they also gave me some LMS style milepost markers. So yeah, I don't actually think I have a scale mile of track. So yeah, how I'm going to do mileposts markers when I don't actually have a mile of track. That should be interesting. And again, these are quite novel as well. I've just noticed there's all different shapes as well, so I'll have to do a bit of research on what each one of those does. That'll be interesting as well. So yeah, we finally had a big Pico order in at work, and sorry about that. Finally had a big Pico order in at work. Yay! So yep, I've got a load of these, which is the line side kit from Pico. you can have 1 mile post shortly. I would hope so, being that I've got over 26 feet of track. I don't know what it works out to in scale. I should know it, but I really don't. But anyway, so these are the stone platform edgings from Pico. Gone with those because obviously I like my sort of stonework buildings, etc. So yeah, I've gone and installed quite a few of them. In total I had 6 packs. The fact that I only have 3 packs left obviously gives you an indication of what I've been up to. So all being well, that's fine. I've also been installing other bits around the layout as well as I've been going. As I said, I've been doing a bit of wiring, a bit of modelling, etc, etc. So do a bit of modelling, let the glue dry, go and do some wiring, come back, etc. So all being well, that should be fine. Good details like speed restrictions. Yes, I do actually have some speed restrictions, Steve. They are in a drawer over there somewhere. There's lots of little detail bits that I've got lined up to go around the layout, etc. So yeah, when I eventually get round to them, etc, etc, etc. I've still got lots of ballasting to do as well, as you can clearly see in some shots as well. Plus the other really cool thing that I've realised as well is the Dapple. Dapple did a cleaning car. It's a little coach that basically goes on the layout, and you basically drag it round, and it cleans all the track and all that sort of stuff. Now, I've been playing with that a lot recently, and yeah, I put the vacuum cleaner section on it, and I sent it around, and it was actually amazing the amount of stuff it actually picked up. I couldn't believe it. But the entertaining one for me was, I should point at it here, was this section here used to be ballasted. Obviously I hadn't quite got there with the glue yet, because when I got to that section, the noise it made, I was like, oh, what the heck's going on here? And of course when I actually sort of carried it on and looked past it, it was like, oh right, haven't glued that section of ballast down. So the fact it lifted all that ballast out of that double slip, I was quite impressed with. It's an interesting thing. You get all these different discs. I can grab one of the discs here. So you get like a little polishing disc there. So you send that round with your choice of cleaning fluid. I'm not going to go into cleaning fluids and which one I think good and bad, etc, etc, because everybody's got their own choice. Admittedly, I'm not a big cleaning fluid fan. My reasoning for that is obviously any form of cleaning fluid is some sort of water-based, because obviously we can't have toxic stuff anymore. But yeah, being that they're water-based, you'll go around, you'll clean the track with this stuff, and then basically you'll leave it for a week. And in that week, you've basically put a load of water all over your track, and that's just going to promote oxidization of your track, so you ain't going to end up with dirty track. It's the same principle as if you go around and spray water all over your ballast, and then do all your gluing and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, look at the state of your track after that. No, I always do this thing where I do a mix, and if I'm honest, I do 50-50. Now, people are going to be screaming at the screen at the moment, going, "Oh, you can't do 50-50 with water and glue, that sort of thing." Now, the reason I do that is because by the time it's gone onto the wet ballast, obviously there's a lot more water in the ballast as well. So by that point, the glue's diluted even more. Now, I was sent, can't remember who sent it to me now actually, because it wasn't World War Scenics, but I was sent some pre-mixed ballast glue, which I haven't got around to trying yet. I was going to try it out on our 009 layout at work, but I got carried away and started putting the ballast down, and then one of the other colleagues came in and started gluing, so it was like, oh cool, he's actually taken the horrible part away from me, because I hate the gluing part. I like the ballast, I can do quite a nice neat ballast, and go from there. Any excess can be wiped up with dry towels. Yes, they can. Yep, you generally have to go around and wipe up a lot of stuff. James, good evening. Yes, we are well. Been entertaining myself in the railway room this weekend. Sorry, had the parents down and sort of in between them sitting there wondering what we're going to be doing next. I've been out in the railway room, so yeah, needless to say, we've been sat around quite a bit. So yeah, but yeah, no, taking them over to the wedding venue where me and my partner are going to be getting married later this year. So yeah, they've seen that, they like it, which is good. It's a very good start. What do you find? This will be the question of everyone. What does everyone else find a good mix for ballasting? Do you do like a 70-30, that kind of thing, or you know, what do you do? What do you guys personally do? So stick it in the chat box, and yeah, we'll see what people do, and have a talk about it a little more. But anyway, right, I should probably get on to... Oh, that's the wrong button. That one. I should probably get on to what I've actually spent my weekend doing. So what I should do now is I shall go back to my station camera. So yeah, a fair bit's changed over here. You can see the start of a station platform. You can see what is hopefully the final resting place of the good shed, which still needs weathering and still needs a bit of detail work to it. Yes, Chris, Steve, excuse me. Chris does use isopropyl alcohol. I have tried that myself, and in actual fact, I will probably give that another go, actually, because I do have a surplus of that stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely give that a go. I mean, being isopropyl alcohol does make me wonder if it would be better than using water, because then obviously you're not going to induce as much oxidization on your rails. So that would be an interesting experiment to try at some point. So yeah, station. Got some coaches out of a box, and had a little bit of a play. So yeah, I've roughly got the station where I want it to be. What I should do is I shall hide that camera there, because nobody wants to see me stood up with a belly in front of them. So yeah, basically what I've done is I've got the sections of the Pico and I've run it round. Yeah, I probably could have done the cardboard method. I'm up to this sort of point because this will be the point where the platform will taper away, and yet the platform will follow around there to a taper and there to a taper as well. This will come out quite wide towards the back, and then the station building, which will then come up onto the actual platform itself. The good sidings, the height guard, excuse me, is just over there at the moment, out of the way, so I don't knock it. I've got the water tower, one of the Dapple water towers installed, and at the moment, as you can see, it's currently bits are hanging out of it. The main reason for that is this problem with the spindle, which I can talk about again. Not a very clever design on Dapple's part. Let me put the camera back on, excuse me. There we go. Yeah, not a very clever design on Dapple's part. So the actual water column itself that swings out, the main part that swings out is basically got a little small square section on the top of that, which goes onto a spindle, and then the spindle then goes up onto the actual servo itself. Now, the problem with that square piece is it's not like a resistance fit. It's not like a friction sort of thing where you can move the arm of the water column out and then move it back yourself. Now, I was testing it on the bench earlier today, and wondering which way round I had to orientate it, because obviously I didn't want to fit it the wrong way round. And yeah, needless to say, I ended up. Oh, sorry about that. I ended up putting it on my bench the wrong way. It went towards the desk as opposed to up to me, and needless to say, I ended up snapping that small little square piece off. So yeah, I've now pulled it apart, figured out how it works, figured out what's happened. Not not a very clever idea as well. Small section at a time, so skipping back to what Timber Surf is saying here. Small section at a time, you can use 100% IPA and then immediately 50-50 glue down. Oh, that's interesting. I might give that a go then, actually. I might give that a go. Thank you very much for sharing that, Timber Surf. So I will try that. Thank you, we'll try that. No, that doesn't make any sense. Missed the comma there, sorry. So yeah, obviously that's currently set up there in bits at the moment. A little bit annoyed by that. But what I've done is, that is all wired into the DCC system. Now, the way I've done that is they're powered. So these are like the original Dapple signals. So you've got the red and the black wire, which are your power wires. And then you've got the two yellow wires, which you either push the switch and do it that way, or you can do it an else way. So the way I've actually done it is I've used the Traintech controllers. So the one that's actually on this board in front of me here is the SC3, and that is the Dapple signal controller. Now this one in my hand is the 300, which allows you to put in the mimic switches and the track sensors as well. I want to try and keep this one to use it over in the engine shed. The idea being is just to gain some sort of basic crude automation over there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, great little units. Your two signals or two water towers, or whichever you want to do, can go into these. And it's a case of you got your power and then you got your two contacts at each side for the yellow. So that's quite a neat little unit, actually. Really easy to use, really simple. So like them a lot, to be honest. Traintech, they just make things so simple. Push it once for the first address, push it twice for the second address, send your address. That is it. They're just so simple, so quick, so easy. They give a good voltage output as well. So things like the Dapple signals and the column themselves won't blow up on these, which is nice. Well, I say it won't blow up unless you're a complete moron and you wire them up incorrectly. That's your fault, not mine. But yeah, these do work very, very well. The signal itself that's up in the corner there, you probably won't be able to see it. So what I can do is I can cheat a little bit. I can put, I'm very good with the buttons tonight, not. So yeah, there it is at the moment. Let's use the shaky camera. But yeah, that is now currently working on the Traintech controller there. So the water column is just there, and as you can see, there's all the bits of it on the floor there. It's surprisingly loud, actually. I was quite impressed by this, actually. Obviously, when you put the lid back on, it gets slightly louder again.
Alright, we're ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that will get annoying after a while. Oh, you can see the servo jerking there. So yeah, getting on with things basically. If Ollie from Mordle Road's watching, he should recognise that house because I bought it from him. But yeah, we'll turn this round, and yeah, you can see out into my garden. You can also see the fluffy string there, lovely. So yeah, I'll go back to the first camera again. I've got to try and remember what these cameras all do. But yeah, so that gives me an idea to run you know, I can run trains round. So the crossover section that's in the station there, I can now actually run stuff around that as well, which is great. If anybody's wondering, I still have the UWT50. It does need to go back to work at some point, but I keep saying I'm going to do a review on it, and I never get round to it. Can't win them all. So yeah, let's just have a little bit of a run round. I'll probably leave the sound off for the time being. So yeah, what I can do is I can reverse this train. So don't put the sound on, the sound is on, well, for the braking anyway. Now annoyingly, I haven't got round to installing there will be an automatic uncoupler in that section there. Nothing fancy. Yes, Timber Surf, you're correct. But what the DAPL signals also need power on the red and black. So these units supply the power to the red and black on the 2 centre pins here and here, and they basically power the signals as well. These 2 outer ones here, so that's for signal 1 and that's for signal 2, you are correcting exactly what you're saying, they are volt-free contacts, but the voltage for the actual units themselves comes out of these 2 middle pins, and it's a good voltage. But yes, you are correct in what you're saying. The yellow wires themselves cannot have any voltage on them, otherwise it destroys the unit within seconds. Apparently I'm still rolling back. Yes, I am. This is what happens when you get chatting. You end up making mistakes. Yeah, so basically I'm not what I was saying about was the uncoupling. I'm not going to do anything fancy with the uncoupling or anything like that. I only use standard tension lock couplings. I do have lots of the Buckeyes. I'm not going to do that though. I like the fact that all of my stuff is all interchangeable and works fine. So yeah, at some point what I will do is I will just simply install one of the little Pico ramps that basically is on a little spring, and that will pop up and remove the tension lock coupling, so I can then run round the train in that section there. So roughly about where the loco is now will be where I will install that little section. Now the platform isn't quite long enough. I could make it longer if I wanted to, but I like the play value in shunting back, uncoupling, running forward, running around that set, etc, etc. If I could just stop in the station, uncouple, pull forward and then run round, it takes a little bit of the fun out of it. So this is why I've basically purposely made it this way. Those of you that do know my Halland exhibition layout, Timber Surf, I believe you saw that. Good evening, Ollie, how are you? Wardle Road, very nice to see you. I've just noticed that you're a moderator for me, so that'll be interesting. Thank you very much. But yeah, you know Halland, basically I do the same, we've got the same method on Halland as well. One, it just gives a bit more play value. Unfortunately, I haven't got any of my fancy uncouplings here, so I will be using a cocktail stick. How well I use this cocktail stick is yet to be seen. Clearly not very well. Not very well at all. That's an interesting problem. Right. Excuse the belly shot there. Thanks, I think. Yep, you should be ever so thanking me. I mean, that was probably when we were. That was probably set up when you and me were going through and setting up my Streamlabs. So yeah, as you can see, it seems to be working quite well. So thank you very much for taking the time and helping me set that up, Ollie. Really appreciate it. The annoying thing is I cannot watch this loco run into that corner from the camera here, which is a little bit annoying. So it means I basically have to guess where the engine is. I think if I stop it about there, I should be okay. So now I can basically go and change my points on there, and I can change direction of the locomotive, and we can run it round, which is very cool. So not been able to do that till this weekend. So yeah, a bit more play value. You can see I've got a head shunt just at the front on the left-hand track there. So that will be used for extra things like DMUs, etc., etc. So that'll all be in there. I like etc. tonight. I don't know where I've picked that up from, but I seem to be using it quite a lot. Yeah, I would appreciate that, Ollie. You know, I am pretty basic setup. You know, I like your the way that yours transitions between screens. So, for instance, if I change my camera view, and it comes up with the one that doesn't actually have a delay on it. But yeah, I still get a small little delay between cameras flicking on and off, etc. So yeah, that would be much help again if you wouldn't mind doing that. You know, maybe we can get you on a Zoom call at some point and maybe have you in a live stream. So that would be interesting. You can join me for a live stream as opposed to me joining you, which we haven't done for a while actually, so maybe we should do another one. See what you can do. Oh, this sounds... I don't know if it sounds ominous, scary, or just... Yeah, well, we'll see. Right, I shall go to that one. There, because we can actually see the engine there now, which is, again, unusual. Toot the whistle before moving. Okay, Steve. Just for you, mate. I was actually keeping the sound off, but yeah, I can blow whistles still, so that's quite interesting. Yeah, so the locomotive of choice this evening is Bachmann's 94XX. This one has been modified to represent 9466, which is a loco some of you may know I'm quite fond of. I used to get around on it a little bit as well. So for me it was an obvious choice to get one of those and model 9466. Admittedly it was quite entertaining in the sense that I didn't have the already got the coaches on by the looks of it. I didn't have the plain old non-sound version come into stock, so I ended up buying the sound fitted version, doing away with the sound in the loco, because these chips in the ESU that they put in them, they didn't run that well. There was lots of complaints and lots of problems about the sound fitted ones not running very well. So my one has been ripped apart. All the decoder's been hardwired into the model. The speaker's been enlarged. The stay alive that's in there is ridiculous. I probably went a little bit too big with the stay alive. I went with a Lays 87009 was the one I went for. And being that the model has a little cordless motor in it, it seems to last forever. So yeah, in some sense, that's good. So yeah. Right, now what we can do is we can actually take the train out. There you go, Steve, just for you. Nice whistle there, just before I pulled away. So yeah, this can basically make its way off around the layout, and we can actually follow it. Scary. So yeah, we can switch over to the camera there. So what this will do, this will come out of the station and it will cross over to the down line or the up line. I haven't decided which way around it's going to be. Yeah, I'll be up for that, Ollie. Yeah, definitely get some more guests back in. As you can see, we have a bit of a mixed rake of coaches there. This is the 4 coaches that I picked up from Ronnie over the weekend. I've just noticed Cottesmore has subscribed and he's just joined us. Thank you very much, Dave. I hope you're well, mate. Hope you had a good run at Wigan with your 66 today in 5-inch gauge. So yeah, at the moment you join us just basically following 9466 around with a couple of coaches. I'll get back to the ABC in a second actually. So what you will notice is I'm going to put this controller down in front of me. I say in front of me, you can't really see it. Actually, if I put it there, you can see it. So yeah, I'm not going to touch the controller. This is something I like to do quite regularly, actually, because this is demoing the ABC. Because what I've been doing around sections of my layout is installing ABC. Now, ABC is not a new thing. It's been around since the dawn of DCC. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will comment on this. So, yeah, you've noticed there that the train has come to a halt there, and that's basically now waiting for the signal to change in front of it. So what I'll do is I'll quickly switch over to the Shedcam because we can just about see it. The Shedcam's there, the signal's set against it. Now, the signal doesn't actually work yet. This is what this controller here, the Train Tech controller that we were talking about earlier, that's what this is here for. So that needs to go onto that system there and get that signal working. But the idea being is now that with that ABC board in place, love that section of track just in front of my bridge, very nice. Thanks, mate. I need to try out York, Dave. Sorry, I'm just getting sidetracked by comments in the live chat. I do need to go back and actually have a play at the track and go from there. Might have to join you when you go, that sort of thing. So yeah, basically what I was just talking about was the ABC. Now, the ABC section is what you do is you basically create an isolated rail on one side. And what you're doing is instead of putting the feed from your DCC system to it, you basically run the feed into this little board here. Now this is a Lay's DCC ABC board, 860065. You can get them for relatively cheap compared to some other market competitors, we shall say. But all you're basically doing is interrupting the feed to your track with one of these. Now, this will go on place, and you can then configure your locomotive to look at the ABC, stop, and then go from there. Mine gets a little bit more complicated because I use active braking. So all my locos have a very, very high CV4 setting. CV4 is the deceleration rate for the locomotive. I approve of ABC. Thank you very much, Timbersurf. Technical difficulties, the wife. I'm up for a visit to York, my hometown. Nice of you to join us, John. Thank you for coming in. Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying York. Thank you for sending me the images of the model engineers earlier. It was quite funny to see you dragging me up the hill with what looks like a a silent crab, although the amusing thing is it was absolutely fine. But no, it's just the fact that so much smoke is bellowing out of the 4F. It looks like the 4F is doing all the work, which is quite entertaining. Maybe I had the blower on a bit high then, I don't know. But anyway, so yes, ABC. The handy thing as well with ABC is you can run into a section and you can get the locomotive to stop. Now, there's two ways to get yourself out of that section. You can either hit reverse. So if I was to go to my controller on the desk over here and hit reverse, you can't actually see the controller. Oh, there. And hit reverse, the train would basically reverse out of that section, no problem at all. Or what you can do is this green tab that's on the board here in front of me, you can basically run, sorry, the green tab is the track, excuse me, getting it completely wrong now. But the blue tab, what you can do is you can run it off to a point motor, and this is exactly what I've done. So two of these two wires go off to a point motor, and at the moment the connection isn't made. Now when I change the point, that will then basically bridge those two terminals out or connect them together, and then effectively what that's doing is that's bridging out this entire board. So this board isn't seen, so it's like your wire going straight to your track. So at that point the loco then goes, I'm not under ABC instruction anymore, and it will carry on at the speed that you last set it at. So it's a very cool thing. I like it a lot. I use it quite a lot myself. You can do shuttle features with it as well. So Zimo, ESU. There are other decoders out there that do the ABC shuttle as well. Shan't go into names. But yeah, I'll say that the Zimo one, the Zimo sound decoders and the ESU sound decoders, which I have on this layout here, they both do it. So I will use them quite happily. But yeah, so I will change that point now. You'll see that point change on the screen in front of you, and then basically say goodbye to the 9466. I have not touched that controller. You've seen both my hands in front of me here. So all I have done is I've told the computer to basically say change that point. And then off it goes into the distance. Now, annoyingly, the reverse loop at the far end is not done, well, not working, we'll say. So unfortunately, I will have to go disappear behind that curtain and go and change the loco to the opposite end. Sounds wrong, doesn't it? I'm going to disappear through a curtain and then come back. You could almost flag problems with that, couldn't you? Sounds awful. Sounds horrid. But yeah, so the train has now disappeared through that section there. As I say, I will disappear for a couple of seconds and go and sort that out. What I shall do is I shall skip back to my station section, so you can see all the lovely work that I've been doing just here. What I shall do is I shall mute my camera so you can't see me, and yeah, I will turn the speed down though. Right, I'm back, so talk amongst yourselves. Right, I'm back, so yeah. So now what we can do, I'm a total numpty with electrics, thanks Steve, really appreciate that. I actually make a very good career out of electrics, so yeah, it's nice of you to say. No, I'm sure you meant you, mate, but yeah, thanks for saying anyway. So yeah, I've now basically taken the loco and I've changed it round. The idea now being that if the loop was working, it would go down the far end of the layout. It would make its way around the reverse loop. When the point changed, which I can do, we get a bell code and the clicker to basically say that the loco is on its way back to us. So at this point we can then go and set everything up and go from there basically. So what we'll do is we'll skip back to the Shedcam, because obviously that's going to show us the loco coming back into the section eventually. We'll put the sound on. Don't know how well it will be heard. Oh, I hate this t-shirt. It makes me look so fat. I am fat, but there we go. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll currently wait for the loco to come back in. And basically what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to demonstrate the ABC. So I've left the point leading into the station against it, because that would be basically the way the scenario would work. You would run the train out and it would come back. Now, the point that we can see in the top right hand side of the screen, that is also linked to the far end. So what it will do is, when the far end is told to change, yeah, I know you meant you, Steve, I was just having a laugh. That's quite annoying, so I'm going to turn the sound off. The points are linked at the far end, so when you change the point to basically say go down the far end, once it goes round that loop, it then sends a LocoNet signal back to basically say change the point. What it actually does is it actually changes 2 points. It changes this point that's back into the siding here, so we can see that the loco is coming back on the up line. Is it the up line or the down line? I never figure this out, to be honest. I think this is the down line. I don't know. I can never figure it out. I will figure it out eventually. But yeah, the idea being is that comes back into the section and it will come across all the way around the actual layout here itself. Now, providing I've got all the points set straight, which thank goodness I have, that will now continue on into the section. I can do a ABC for the return and basically make sure everything's straight, but again, it just overcomplicates things and I don't really want to do that. So what I'll do is I'll skip to this camera here. This is my low-down camera. We should just about see the loco coming into shot. Oh, there's the Dapple wagon. I've just noticed in the background there you can actually see the Dapple cleaning wagon. Actually, it sounds daft, like, because I did actually wonder where the heck I'd put it actually, but there it is in the corner. So yeah, this will come along. And this will basically make its way up to this signal in front of us, which is currently set to red. Now this is a non-operating signal, so please humour me when I say the signal would change, etc, etc. I could, however, motorise it. I do have some side-mounted motor things sat there doing nothing, so I could maybe use it for something. So yeah, loco will come along and hopefully, all being well, yeah, there we go, it's going to stop just there. Right, so the point is currently set against it. So again, I will hand of God the camera. The point is currently set against it. So that loco will basically sit there now until I give it the all clear with the signal, etc. Lovely, thank you very much. Home Insurance from Churchill for messaging me at this late hour of the evening. 8 o'clock at night, and they're messaging me about my home insurance. Thank you very much. So yeah, now I can basically go and say, change the point. Those points are very noisy, so you will have heard that. Considering the point is just above that camera just there. And then as we can see, the loco now continues on. Now, as I said, with the ABC, it's a case of you've got two methods. You can either run it into an ABC section, the loco will stop, and then you can reverse out of it, or you can remove the ABC by changing a point, throwing a switch, etc, etc. Why do I keep saying etc tonight? I don't know. And then basically the loco will continue on where you left off. So that's quite useful. Again, I should probably install an ABC section on this far one here, so if this point down the bottom here is against it, then that loco will stop there, save me having a derailment. But in theory, it should always be set straight, because obviously you back the train in. So that's always the interesting way. And we'll now stop the train. Nice brake button there. That was something I was explaining about as well. Because my locos all use active braking, so all my files are done with an F2 braking feature. That means my CV4 is set extremely high. So by introducing ABC, ABC will look at CV4 and it will decelerate at that value. Now, my sections of track with the ABC on are a yard length of pico track. Now, I can tell you for a fact that if I was running that loco at a sort of medium speed, the likelihood is it will clear that section of track before it stops. So I then have to look at what they call constant braking. So you can use on the decoder a system called constant braking and set that up. So once it sees the fact that there's an ABC section in use, the constant braking applies. So regardless to the speed of the locomotive, so I can run it flat out into a section or I can run it crawl into the section, it roughly stops with about an inch, in about an inch of where it needs to. And that's quite important for me to use that feature because, as I say, because I've got the active braking, I can't use CV4 as a standard value. So I have to rely on the constant braking to get it to stop in the place I need it to. And as I say, so far it's proven to be quite accurate in the sense that roughly they stop in roughly the same place. Now, there are interesting kind of variations of that. ESU, as an example, do a constant braking value that actually is for forward and reverse, or forward and backwards, excuse me. That's handy because things like DMUs, as an example, you generally have a trailer car and a powered car. Now, with this layout, everything that goes through up to the reverse section comes back the opposite way. Now, the problem is at this end of the layout, I don't have the luxury of running it round. So it will run into the station. Just thought of something there. It will run into the station, but then I've got the issue of when it comes back out, effectively the power car's on the opposite end. So when it goes into my ABC section, it will ignore the fact that there's a trailing car there. So the trailing car could actually clear the section before it comes to a stop. So that's handy with ESU going into the fact that they do a forward constant value and a backwards constant value. Because I can set the backwards value as a higher value, or sorry, a lower value, so it stops quicker. So my trailing car will roughly stop in the same place as the driving car. So that's quite a useful feature. I haven't seen that feature on the Zimo yet. I don't know if it exists or not, so I won't go into too much detail, but I have seen it on the ESU chips, and that's really good. Excuse me, just going to get a drink. Good evening, Mr. Ward. Thank you very much for watching. So yeah, you joined me this evening. We're currently in my little room with all my railway, and we're basically just having a bit of a play with some trains. What I might do is I might break out another engine just for a bit of fun, see what we've got kicking around. So yeah, we'll change over to the junction view. Excuse me. What we shall do is we shall get the 14 out of it. We shall get the 14 out of the hole it's in. The controller of choice this evening is the UWT 50 from TCS. Been quite honoured that I can have a play with that. Timber Surf, never thought of that. Do you know what? I never thought of it up until I saw it on the ESU programmer, and then it just made so much sense to me that was the case. That is why it was there. John Foxton is saying hello to Johnny. GWR engines. All my other engines are at work, so basically I don't have any of my... Well, I do have some of my LMS stuff here. Not all of it, admittedly. I've got my big Duchess of Athol, which is proving to be a bit of a nuisance at the moment. It doesn't want to go around corners very well. So I need to look into that and figure out why. So the loco we're going to be running here is the 14XX. John Foxton should know that one very well because he used to have one in 5-inch gauge. Ollie should know it as well because he used to have one in 5-inch gauge too, actually. But yeah, so we'll have a little play about with this one this evening. It is a DJM model, which has been highly modified by myself, as per most of my stuff. Yes, Timber Surf. It could be very interesting. Ironically, I've been having a conversation with one of the guys working on this new Pete Waterman layout, and he's been saying that he's had an interesting problem with the HSTs that they're using on that layout because they're actual full-length trains, so they have a driven car at both ends. And of course, the problem is that one car will run into the ABC section, but the other car's still pushing. So it doesn't really work for things like that either, unless, of course, you make a humongous ABC section. You shouldn't have sold it. The honest answer is I can't really tell you if you shouldn't have sold it or not. Because I'd never drove that one. I still think you shouldn't have sold me the 4F, but I am glad you did, because I've got a very nice engine, and you still get to play with it. So win-win all round there. So again, this has got ABC all set up on it. So in theory, what I should be able to do is run. I say in theory because honestly, I don't think I've tried this model yet. The other tank engine on the screen there is a J94. It's a DJM J94, but that one's been... it has one of the Cobb-Smith... excuse me, the Cobb-Smith Lambton cabs on it. So yeah, I'm quite proud of that model. I need to finish it, admittedly. Something which you all know. So yeah, in theory, that should be coming to a halt. Look at that, it did. So yeah, we shall use this as a bit of a push-pull service, unfortunately. Down the far end before the loop, I currently have a buffer stop there because things aren't working, or should I say the track's not complete, if I'm honest. It's me being brutally honest, because we've had to pull it all up because I have a plan to change the design a little bit. Can't really see the point of having a big loop with nothing in the middle of it. So my intention is to have a big loop with a couple of sidings in the middle of it. That'll be useful for doing things like my DMUs. So they'll be using shuttle feature on the DMUs. However, I will do it in a way that instead of doing an automatic shuttle, it'll be a case of they'll run into the section with ABC in it, they'll come to a stop, and then they'll basically sit there and wait until I ask for them to come back. Because if I do it in a way that... yes, it is. Well done, John. Yeah, it is one of the Lambton Colliery locomotives. That one is number 59. As you may know, there's only 3 of them. There was 58 and 59, and I've got in my head the other one was 10 for some reason. But yeah. So we'll send this one off for a jolly. Maybe we'll put the sound on as it leaves. Give a little whistle for us, yeah. what we shall do is we shall send that off into the distance. Turn the sound off. What we should do is, as Mr. Foxton has spotted it, I will now go and get... Now, I've got a better sound file for this one coming, or I will be loading onto it at some point, because I'm not overly happy with the sound file on this model. I always feel underwhelmed by these. I always put a big speaker in these models, and I never seem to get the sound output that I actually want out of them. So, yeah. Might have just come up with an idea, but yeah. Change the point back. Technically you should go past that signal at the end there, but I'm not a perfectionist. Johnny, you can tell me off for spadding. We shall change over to this camera and we can see it run along in front of us. Should be pretty cool. Looks like I have 7 people watching, so do me a favour, hit the like button, share it about, and get more people in here, because, you know, whilst I do this for free, it's nice to have people on watching. Otherwise I'm just basically doing a blog for myself, or of myself, should I say. Oh good, I do have couplings on it. Just thinking to myself there, I don't have any couplings on this model, so how am I going to... How's it going to couple up? Well, I just answered my own question. It will. Yeah, that probably would get round the that issue there, Johnny, saying about putting the centre car and the rake as the pickups, but the issue there is you have to set the layout up to deal with that. So basically you'd have your centre car and all your APTs, your HSTs and so on and so forth being the pickup car, but the issue is if you take the front car as your pickup point, your pickup car, and then you move it to the centre car, you've got basically about sort of 2.5, 3 cars in front of it that are still basically going to clear the point. Clear the signal. So there's lots of little funny quirks with ABC. As I say, ABC is not a new thing. It's been around for quite some time. The fact that it's come back into the limelight a little bit more with people doing things like ABC Shuttle and stuff, I find quite entertaining, because it's always been there. It's always been something we've been able to do, but nobody does. So there we go. I need to drive this engine. Do you know what? It's quite entertaining trying to drive it on the camera as opposed to looking at the thing in front of me just there, shall we say. Because then I'll look like a meerkat. Are we coupled? I have no idea. I can't see. We are not. We are not coupled up. Right. So, when I can find my mouse, set that up there. We need to swap back. Now we've just got to wait for the 14 to come back, so we will go back to the Shedcam. Timber surf, yes. I shall avoid commenting on that because I don't want to be. But yeah, I mean, ABC is not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination. ABC has been around for quite some time. Yeah, funny enough, there's a few people that have actually said that comment to me, that he said he would never do ABC, and now look. But there we go. Of course, the other issue is a certain system works in reverse to everybody else's. So if you try and use a Zimo or ESU decoder using their ABC boards, it's working in reverse to theirs. So yeah. However, I have been told recently that apparently they are correcting that. So watch this space. We will see what happens. Now this could be interesting because I was explaining this earlier. What I was saying about ABC, where it comes to stopping the section, it's a case of I've now got a toad in between the loco and the front of this ABC section, so it will be interesting to see where this stops. Now, I can tell you that is not clear of the point. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to hand of God it back and put it there, which is not cool. Right, what we should do is we shall leave that there. That's set to 65 on there at the moment. I shall flip back to my Lambton. This will go for a nice little jolly with all that rake. Are we coming into camera yet? Doo-dah, doo-dah. There we go, just for you, Mr. Foxton. A J94 Lambton from Lambton Collieries, number... Oh dear. What happened there? Naughty, naughty. Looked like one of my points hadn't thrown there. Just had to give it a little nudge. So yeah, sorry, just what I was saying. The Lambton cab from Lambton Colliery, that is number 59. And that shall head off into the distance. We shall chase it round the layout as well. Oh yes, much cheaper to buy diodes and do it yourself. But when you've got a surplus of these things available, when I say a surplus, I mean I have a bag full of them. So I've got a few to use there. So, but yes, I have made funny noise from the loco in hand. I have made, oh dear, that's obviously not set up with ABC in mind, so we shall just hit the emergency stop button on that one. Whoops. But yeah, I have made my own ABC boards in the past for my Halland layout, and I did it basically just by getting a load of is it 1N4007 diodes, and then basically it's a case of 4 diodes in series, and then one in parallel over the top, which is the other direction to the 4 in series. So the 4 in series are all in the same direction. They're in series, one nice line, and then you basically have one in parallel over the top, which is in opposite direction. In actual fact, that is the circuit diagram for it, actually, because I was drawing this out to explain it to my father earlier. I have my parents up visiting this weekend, which has been nice. Been nice to see them. I haven't seen them for quite some time now. So yeah, it's been nice to see them. Yeah, I'll put a little bit of interest in there. Johnny, just for you, there you go. There is a Western on a turntable being spun very fast, admittedly, because my turntable's not set up correctly. But yeah, you're welcome, John. I hope you enjoyed that. You should not use standard diodes on DCC. Interesting. Should not use standard diodes on DCC. Why, Timbersurf? Are you going to tell us why? Because I've used standard diodes for absolute years. Change the point. Watch that go off in the distance. Hi. Sorry, I've got someone sticking their head through the door at me. Hello. That'll be my gorgeous fiancée. So, interesting. Not come across that, Timbersurf. I shall have to do some reading into that. But yes, you are right. They have a much faster reaction time to standard diodes. Yes, that is correct. But I've never heard of it destroying DCC equipment, though. So yeah, I will have a look into that. I'm sure the diodes that are used on majority of the ABC boards that you pick up, that you buy, basically have all that sort of stuff all dealt with. But there we go. But yeah, as I say, I've been using, pretty sure I've been using standard diodes on my Halland layout for absolutely years, and it seems to work absolutely fine. Oh yeah, I forgot we got that thing sat there. Here we go. And away it goes. Off into the station you come. You little blighter. Interesting. I'm really gonna look into this because, as I say, Halland has had that on for well, 20. I built the layout. We built the layout in 2012. It's got to be about 2014, 2015. Excellent Western activity. Say hi to your manager from us all. My manager? Okay, I'm slightly confused by this. Can do, I guess. We don't want to see the Western spinning around on the turntable again, do we? The turntable's acting a little bit fast at the moment. Oh, that's boring. That didn't go very far, did it? We'll go back the other way. So we can go and look into the turntable again if we like. So what I basically have under the turntable is I have a stepper motor system that's connected to a driver board, and that driver board is connected to, it's not an Arduino, I cannot for the life of me remember the name, it's bugging the heck out of me, but it is basically a it is basically a version of an Arduino, but it has a Wi-Fi card built into it. So what Ian at DCC Interface has done is he's configured it all up. So if I go and activate my screen, so this is the screen. So this is currently my JMRI software. Gives you an idea of the layout, etc. The points, etc. The water tower icons, the signals, or the little dots there, the turntable there as well, which you can control from there as well. But the other thing we can do with the turntable is we can load, here it is, we can load that screen. Now, this is basically showing us the configuration for it. So because it's paired into the Wi-Fi with the layout, it's a case of I can dial in the web address at the top of the screen there, so 192.168.1.34, and what that basically loads is it loads the iController system for the DCC interface controller for the turntable. This you can then use to go head or tail, and then that moves the turntable appropriately. So that's me clicking on the screen and away it goes. But the other thing you can also do it through this one is you can go to the configuration settings. Now, I don't know if it's because I need to reset the turntable, but I have turned the speed down in the hope of slowing that rotation down. But for some reason, it's not really worked. So what I should do is I should come off that screen a second. I shall turn the power off for the turntable. Turn it back on. We should see it do a little funny little rotation waltz at the moment. All being well, there it goes. That still looks pretty fast to me. Yeah, that still looks exceedingly fast to me. So yeah, I need to, that's not worked. So yeah, this is the sort of thing I'm working with. So as before, we had the 3 indexes. For some reason, it has now reverted back to the default settings. So it has not stored my settings. It's not a Raspberry Pi, Johnny. It's, bear with me. Need to get the torch out to be able to see it. Okay, I actually have no idea what the heck that board says because it's all written in Chinese. So I cannot tell you what it is. It's not an Uno Wi-Fi. I have no idea what it is. However, at the moment, I seem to be getting lots of issues with the configuration. So it's gone back to 100 after that, which is really annoying. So again, we'll go and set it to 20. We'll go and set 3 indexes. But this is the type of thing you get with development stuff. You know, you things don't always work 100% all the time. So yeah, this is why. So 3 indexes there, yeah. Okay, so let's try it again. Let's try it again. So we'll go back to the main screen. Still looks like it's going pretty fast to me, which is a bit of a shame. Happy to see that the stream is working this evening. Happy to see that there's a lot more people in, albeit 7, admittedly. So guys, do like and share. You know, put my name out there a bit more. As I say, I do this for free. I don't expect any money. I don't want any money or anything like that. You know, you see lots of YouTubers that basically go and get donations for a project and all this sort of stuff. I'm not interested in any of that. I purely do this just for the fun, off my back. It's a little sort of almost like a little blog series that basically showcases what I do, the layout, a general sort of talk with me. You know, as people have come forward and, you know, they've got questions or things that they've tried or things that might be worth me trying. Then that's always a good thing to do. I certainly know I've got some new products coming along. The Shed crew want to get to the pub, do they? Well, they can tootle off to the pub, no problems there. I will head back to the station and we'll say goodbye to the Shed crew from there. I'm just going to do a reset on this again and see what we get. Anybody can see me on the half screen there. There you go. Annoyingly though, just because I've done that reset, I'm going to go back and check out the shed. Whoa. Okay, that hasn't appeared to have worked at all. So the likelihood is if I... I don't want you to pay me. No, so that hasn't worked. Every time the system resets itself, the defaults go back. So this is something I need to go back to Ian with and have a conversation with him and say every time I reset the system now, I end up with the defaults back. So yeah, so great fun for the development, that sort of thing. Guest presenters, Johnny, you're welcome to come on, mate. You know, you're welcome to come and join me. You can have your face, you know, my face will be up in this corner here, and yours will be over here, and somewhere in the middle we'll have the layout, and yeah. No, I would like to do something with some guests and all that sort of stuff on. You know, usually I'm the one that's the guest on somebody else's YouTube channel or YouTube stream. So it could be quite interesting to say to see how it works with somebody coming on my channel. You're teaching me, apparently. Okay, I'll I'll refrain from comment on that one. So I learn a couple of little things. It's nice to know how people do different things. But there ain't a lot you're going to teach me about DCC anyway. Speaking of teaching people about DCC, good evening, James from Train Automations. A cardboard cutout could be provided with little cost. Well, I'll tell you what we'll have to do. Seeing as I've got a big layout here and I can put lots of figures, etc. Maybe we should get a Model U 3D scan done of everyone. So we can have Johnny stood right here next to the broken water tower, so he's fixing that. Mr. Foxton, you can be lurking around on the Lambton cab, the Lambton Colliery Loco, seen as it doesn't have any crew in it at the moment. So it's a bit of a ghost engine, it just drives itself. I'm getting the tubs. I can't remember what they called it. Yeah, James has just given me an emoji for. I can't remember what it was called. Was it dubs? I don't know. Something. I don't know. I'm not even going to go there anymore. I look like a fool by sticking my hands up there each time, so I'll do it some more. But yeah. So yeah, as we've proven, the DCC interface eye controllers still not working well. Not enough resin to print me. You'd be about that size, mate, so I think we'll manage, okay? Brilliant. So yeah, ironically I was just talking about James a second ago, saying about new products, new stuff. You can always learn more. Yes, I agree. I can always learn more. As I say, usually it's ironically I've had a conversation with people this evening asking for a bit of advice with ballasting and so on and so forth. But yeah, usually it's me teaching people stuff, rather the other way around. Usually get odd phone calls at God knows what time at night saying, "How do I do this on ESU or Zimo, etc." But there we go. Right, so yeah, I guess because I've had a few more people in this evening, obviously that's made it go a bit quicker. No one knows it all. No, nobody knows everything. I would be. Well, I don't think that person exists, if I'm honest. Maybe Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. He likes to think he knows it all. But there we go. I've really run out of what things to say now. And me. Yeah, you can have a resin figure done as well, Mr. Foxton. Well, as I said, we'll get you in the Lambton Colliery wagon, and you can go from there. So yeah, I'm quite shocked to see the fact that it's coming up for 8:45. As I say, usually I do this for about 2 hours. So obviously, because I've had a lot of people in here chatting to me, it's been useful. James, don't laugh, because we're going to do a 3D print of you as well, and you can be lurking around fixing things again as well, as you're a technical man. So Timber Surf, I'm sure you can. You probably already have a figure of yourself lurking somewhere with your timber scale, or Tim's scale, excuse me. So yeah, if you do want to drop a link to your page in the comments, by all means feel free. It's always good to promote the hobby and promote people doing the hobby as well. Maybe I should put a link into myself. You know, you need a bigger printer. Yeah, you're not the only one saying that, James. But we'll manage, I'm sure. So yeah, lots of 3D printing for everyone. Maybe I should drop some links to people in the comments. So Tim's scale, when I can spell it. That's time scale. Whoops. No one wants to see my ugly monkey. Well, to be honest, when I saw you lurking behind the in front of the layout, actually, I was kind of a little bit like, oh, hang on a minute, is that who I think it is? Because I wasn't sure, because I haven't really met you properly. So yeah, why can't I find your website, Timber Surf? Is it Tim's scale? TIMZ? type in... Can't type. Well, yeah, James, I do need to sort that out again at some point and come down and learn iTrains, a little bit of iTrains, see all the new goodies and lots of stuff that I have a digestive voice, okay. Timber Surf, if you can post a link to your web page, that would be great, because for some reason I cannot find you at all on Google, which is really strange. I shall post a link here to where I work. That's the day job. Keeps me out of mischief, I guess is probably the best way to explain it. Or probably puts me in the middle of the mischief, actually, with everyone coming and asking me questions day in, day out about DCC and so on and so forth, doing all the sound installs, etc. James, DCC Train Automations, there's a plug for you, mate, as well. And as I say, if Timber Surf gets on and posts us a link to his page as well, we'll have his as well. We've been talking a lot about ABC this evening, James, as well. Ironically, interestingly, Timber Surf makes the comment about not using standard diodes for ABC. Now, I've used standard diodes on one of my other layouts for years. Admittedly, on this layout, I use the Lay's DCC ABC boards, which is 860065, I want to say, is the part number for them. Wow, 860065. Wow, I was actually quite impressed with the fact that I actually remembered that. But yeah, no, so the comment's been made about don't use standard diodes on your ABC. Don't know if you've ever heard of it. Personally, I've used standard diodes on my stuff for years. When I say standard diodes, I'm referring to 1N4007. Is the part number that I use, and I've used them for years on my ABC. So yeah, an interesting comment. Back in the 80s, what was back in the 80s? What, where ABC come from? ABC came from like the 80s, did it? Probably did, actually, thinking about it. When did DCC first start? Ooh, must Google. Must Google. Do you know what? I don't actually know this, considering I work. I've just fallen trapped to the fact that when you type in DCC on Google, you get Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. So, yeah. Not really what I was thinking of there. History, there we go. Wow, really? I did not know that. Okay, apparently it was around the 1940s that DCC came into existence. That's really quite interesting, actually. 1940, wow. 1977 for ABC. Cool. That's interesting. I know that ABC's been around for years, and it's only really come into the limelight. The Banana Splits was also in the thing. Did they really start in 78? See again. Oh yeah, it does. Actually, no, I know that because it says it on the blooming forms, doesn't it? It says it on all the Zimmo paperwork that they were around since 78. Yeah. I look at the future stuff. I don't look at the past. No, that's actually quite interesting to know. Actually, wow! You should see the size of the Lauren Electronics system, the American system from 1946. It's massive. That is a big controller. What am I saying? You should see it. You can see it. Look at that. Interestingly, it was radio as well. Huh. Fascinating stuff. Look at the size of these controllers. That's crazy. That is very, very... That is very 60s retro. That is quite entertaining. I don't know if you can see me pointing at this. But yeah, that is... that is extremely 60s retro there. I'm using existing stuff, don't judge me. That is just bonkers. My dad actually had this conversation with me that he hasn't actually managed to find this yet, but I remember when I was a kid, he built this Maplin's electronics kit, which was massive. Pointer works. Thank you very much, Timber Surf. I didn't actually know if anyone could actually see that on the screen or not. So Digitrax. Wow, look at that. Digitrax offered 16 channels, so that was why they called it the 1600, I'm guessing. Have we got a picture of that? Oh, look at all some of these old system names. I've heard of some of these. Digipack, I've heard that. Oh, computer throttle control, look at this. It's quite interesting, this, actually. I shall probably be scouring through and checking it out at some point. Sound control as well, here we go. When was that offered to people? Sound in your locomotive. For a whopping $376. That was in 1986. Today's equivalent would be, in terms of money equivalent of today, would be $950. So that's quite entertaining to see. Airfix multi-control, I remember that. MTC. That's MRC I'm thinking of. 01, there we go. Everyone remembers Hornby 01 back in the day. The stupidly huge decoders. 3-wire decoders as well. Obviously that suited the older motor style as well, being the fact that they were chassis pickup on majority of them. Oh, I didn't know it had a slave handset. I didn't know it had that. God, look at the ribbon cable coming from it as well. That just goes to show you how antiquated that thing is. Yeah, I remember having to go on one of these systems when I was a kid, and the keypad really didn't work that well. Yeah, there are plenty of other methods of braking other than just ABC, but we're just talking about ABC because I use it on my layout here, just because it's simple to use. But it's just I don't understand why people don't seem to know about it or understand how it works, etc., etc. It really does baffle me. An American logging layout. Very cool timber surf, yeah. Do remember making a controller like that as well. Oh, look at this, ZTC. There we go, just so James's confirmation there. 1977 was when they started developing it, and it was brought to the market in 1979. So where 79, James, you're 1 year out, mate. Kato Digital, didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, it's Digitrax, isn't it? Yeah, sorry. Marklin, Tricks, Sound Systems. Oh, here we go. Check out some of these amazing sound units. Look at this thing. Yee! That's fantastic. So you've got a little individual dial for everything from coupling, blower, generator, bell, master volume control, and echo. You've even got reverb settings. There's your little whistle settings there. Excellent. That's a beast of a controller as well. It's a monster of a controller. I'm guessing this was where they stored all the sounds on it. Flipping heck, look at this. That's scary. $1949 this one. So that one there was $1949. They did that. Marklin Digital 2-rail systems by Lens. There you go, that was the first DCC system I was aware of anyway. Command control in the 80s. In March 1984, issue a moral rail. Interesting. So that was the... Okay. Installed command control systems in 1982. So the majority of people had other, doesn't say what other is, but 24% was 01, which is quite interesting. Well, that's quite an interesting way to end my chat anyway. But yeah, I'll certainly have a read of this at some point. This is quite fascinating, actually. Didn't even know about this. But yeah. Alright, so there we go, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. That's interesting. Timber Surf, about 45 years ago, that was when you made your first controller. That's pretty cool. I've been doing DCC now for about 13, 14 years myself. Did do it before, hand, but then I basically stepped away and did a bit of motor racing for a short period of time. Had an Astra VXR, which I used to take to round tracks and all sorts of stuff. But anyway. Yeah, then I came back to the hobby because I needed a hobby after I gave that the cars and all that lot up. After I gave that all up, anyway, James, yes, it is so simple, and I don't understand why people don't do it. So going off the back of what you've just said there, I might have to do an article for a certain magazine about that So I'm in the process of writing a few articles for, I'm not going to say names, but I'm in the process of doing some articles for a magazine at the moment, which one of them I really must crack on with because it's supposed to be done by the end of the month, and there isn't much of this month left, as you can see. So yeah. But anyway, an interesting way to end this evening. Thank you very much for watching. Do like, subscribe and share. As I say, at the end of the day, it's nice to have more people in the chat. Makes my evening go a lot quicker, and it also makes for a more entertaining evening as well. So anyway, thanks again, guys. Really appreciate your time this evening. Hope you're all well. Have a good week. See you in about 2 weeks' time for another stream on a Sunday night. More layout chat, more general gossip. Maybe I'll be more brushed up on DCC by then. Who knows? But anyway, take care, guys. Thanks again. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye. Need to find my mouse now and work out how